Right, just one thing I want to go over before we get started. This video is not supposed to be a replacement for reading the manual. If you've never flown one of these before, you really do need to read everything that comes in the little pack with your new drone. Safety guidelines, what's in the box, sort of a quick start guide, a guide to do with the battery. There's a full PDF manual that you can download, which I recommend you download, and also a sort of a flight safety leaflet from the CAA, which is also handy. There's extra stickers, but definitely you want to read this before you go flying, and so consequently I've left out quite a few bits to do with, for a first time fly, to do with things like calibrating the IMU and updating the firmware and stuff like that, and even actually what the process of turning on the aircraft is, and that way you'll hopefully read the manual before you go flying. Right, so let's prepare for flight. First thing, make sure the aerial is upright like this. You need to try and keep the aircraft at 90 degrees to the angle of the aerial, that way you're going to get the best signal. Rotate the phone clamp around, pop the phone in, use this little circular bit at the bottom to make sure it's nice and tight. Then what I do is pop battery in, just make sure it's all nice and secure in there and that you've got nice full amount of power. Then slide the gimbal clamp out of the gimbal like that. Take the lens cover off. Then you match up the silver on the propeller with the silver bit on the thread of the motor, and rotate it in the clockwise direction. There is a little bit on here, see it says unlock that way, lock that way. The black bits obviously go on the black motor cams, motor threads, and what you do is each one, the black ones are going to rotate to lock in the opposite direction from the silver ones. Right, once you've done that, you need to hold the motor can and just ensure they're all tight. I mean, don't try and over tighten them or anything, you don't want to damage the propellers or the motors, but you do need them to be nice and secure. Right, there we go. We're ready to go outside and have a fly. Right, so the first thing to do, turn the remote controller on, and then go into your Wi-Fi settings. And you want to connect to the one that pops up saying Phantom 3, there we go. Already entered the password, so it's just going to connect right up for me. The password is normally 1234. Right, now that's connected. Open the DJI Go app. This will change to the Phantom 3 standard page and into camera. What it's doing now is it is warming up, so we have to wait for it to warm up. And once it's finished that, we're going to calibrate the compass. When calibrating the compass, it's a compass, so magnetic things are not great. So I'm taking my big metal watch off in case that will affect the compass calibration, because without a calibrated compass the GPS won't be able to hold it in position. It'll sort of wander off and do this thing called toilet bowling, where it sort of goes in a circular motion like this. If you ever see that, land it immediately and recalibrate the compass. Now it's finished warming up, I'm just going to go and calibrate the compass. Click calibrate. Clockwise again. To start the motors on the quad, what you do is you put the sticks together in what they call a combination stick command, like that. There you go. We're ready to take off. That way you can make sure that the compass is properly calibrated. Good to see. One thing to remember is, whilst the quad is facing towards you, left and right is going to be opposite. So that means you need to keep your orientation. So the aircraft is always doing what you want. It's generally much easier to fly when the back is facing towards you. Another thing I would certainly recommend for anyone new to flying, if they don't fly in an area with this many trees, go somewhere properly isolated. Right, and now time to land. Once you've landed, to stop the motors, what you do is you pull the stick, the power, the throttle, down to the very bottom until it clicks, and just leave it there for 3 seconds, and then the motors will come to a stop. Now this is important. You turn the aircraft off first, then the app, then the transmitter. Never turn the transmitter off before you've turned the aircraft off. Otherwise it will go into what they call fail-safe return to home mode, and it will probably zoom up 30 meters and then start coming down again. It's not what you want to be doing. Right, now that we've turned it off and come back inside, we grab each motor can, rotate the rotor blade in the unlock location, give it a twizzle till it starts clicking like that. Same with that one. Same with that one. Same with that one. And then you can just take them all off. Then what I always do first is put the lens cap on. like a nice clean lens, and then slide the gimbal clamp in. Want to try and be as gentle as possible with the gimbal, because that's the reason why you get all these lovely smooth shots, because the gimbal on this thing is amazing. Then you grip, push each of those bits in at the side on the battery, just pull it out. There we go. Now the battery will be warm after a normal flight, a normal sort of length flight, so you don't want to put it on charge straight away. You want to wait at least 20 minutes, half an hour. Take the phone out of there, unlock the clamp, put the aerial down, rotate that round, and there we go. Just a few points on flying camera equipped UAVs in the UK. During takeoff and landing you need to be at least 30 metres away from things which aren't under your control, so you know, your house fine, you know, your family or a friend who's, you know, helping watch you take off, that's all fine, but you know, some random person walking through a park, they should be at least 30 metres away. Also, once you've taken off, you need to maintain at least 50 metres away from people, vessels, cars, buildings, dogs, all that sort of thing. And the final point is you need to stay at least 150 metres away from congested areas. So a congested area is a town, a city, or a settlement or street. So basically any sort of group of houses that sort of comprises a settlement would be considered a congested area, and you need to stay 150 metres away in order to legally fly one of these equipped with a camera. And that's sort of for safety reasons as well as sort of privacy reasons. And then obviously there's a few sort of basic common sense things. Don't fly near an airport. You know, always make sure you keep it within your visual line of sight, so that you can avoid, if you see a low flying civilian aircraft coming in, you need to be able to sort of keep away from them. And what else? Oh yes, and then there's the sort of the basic rules, which is sort of visual line of sight is normally taken to be not higher than 400 feet above ground level and within 500 metres of the pilot, and or less. If you can't see it at 500 metres, which with a quad this size, there's a decent chance you won't be able to see it at 300 metres. So that should be the limit to how far you go. Otherwise, it won't be safe, and you'll be risking other air users. Most civilian aircraft do stay above 500 feet, not below 400 feet, and the reason for that is because they have to stay away from people and buildings and settlements and all the rest of it too, and they have to stay 500 feet away, so that's sort of why you've got that 100-foot separation. But in the middle of the countryside somewhere where there aren't any buildings or people, they could be lower. They could be lower because they're coming into land. You know, you need to think about these things, because a light aircraft wouldn't want to meet one of these in the air. I think it would probably not be good. It would certainly give the pilot a big scare, if not far worse. Right, brilliant. I hope this has been a useful video. I've deliberately kept it as basic as I can. So yeah, have fun flying and fly safe.